Now, the NDC is currently holding a press conference briefing and a press briefing on its 2020 manifesto on the topic unpacking the education, health and security policies at the headquarters here in Accra. Let's cross over live for more.
An erratic academic calendar, inconsistent curricula, lack of investment in the professional needs of teachers, poor industrial relations leading to prolonged and unresolved strikes, as well as inadequate teaching and learning material. Indeed, the slumping of quality in education as well as outcomes is evident at all levels. Ladies and gentlemen, the next NDC government will comprehensively reset our educational system in collaboration with all stakeholders. Our goal is to aggressively expand infrastructure, enhance teacher welfare and professional development, and increase investment in the sector for quality outcomes. Now let's begin with the tertiary sector. The incoming John Mahama NDC administration would do the following in the tertiary sector. We will implement a non-academic fees policy for all first-year students, all public tertiary institutions. The universities, colleges of education, as well as nursing training colleges. We would also provide free tertiary education a free bed for all program by building on-campus and affordable student hostels and expanding accommodation facilities for tertiary students through PPP schemes. We will also provide trainee teachers and nurses with allowances, student loans, and other diverse funding opportunities for them to be able to survive and thrive during their training. In addition, we will revamp the Student Loan Trust Fund to increase loan amounts based on a needs assessment and ensure prompt disbursements. We will introduce legislation to usher in a new era of government scholarship administration, which would prohibit the award of scholarships to government officials and streamline scholarships across multiple sectors to do away with the current uncoordinated and indeed corrupt regime. We would decollateralize the GET Fund and restore it to its original mandate of educational financing. We will continue our policy of establishing public universities in every region with focus on newly created regions. We will also improve subventions to public universities and ensure timely disbursements. In the secondary sector, the next NDC Mahama government would undertake the following. We will abolish the dual-track system to restore a single-track academic calendar. We will embark on an emergency infrastructural drive to complete abandoned E-blocks and expand infrastructure in existing senior high schools as well as TVET institutions. We will provide a dedicated and sustainable funding source for quality secondary education by ring-fencing a percentage of our oil revenue for this specific purpose. We will also decentralize the procurement of food and other basic supplies, ensure timely food supplies, and improve the quality and quantity of food for our students in the secondary school system. We will continue our policy of provision of free tablets and laptops for senior high school students. We will review the computerized school selection and placement system to address the corruption in the school placement and make sure that students are placed based on merit. We also will reform secondary education curricula to integrate STEM agriculture, vocational skill, digital literacy, civic education, design thinking, and life skills into secondary educational outcomes. We intend to expand science resource centers across the regions to support STEM and TVET education. We will commence establishment of regional TVET centers of excellence integrated with fabrication and other state-of-the-art facilities to promote innovation and stimulate real work environments. We will prioritize, rebrand, and increase investment in TVET as a key anchor of economic transformation. We will implement a national apprenticeship program to generate self-employment through the provision of free technical and vocational training for young people in various crafts. In the area of childhood and basic education, the next NDC Mahama government will undertake the following. We will introduce the Bright Beginnings Initiative to revive and repurpose early childhood education for the well-being of Ghanaian children and facilitate seamless integration into continuous schooling and lifelong learning. We will initiate a policy to integrate early childhood education into basic education, supported by appropriate infrastructure. We will establish a department for early childhood development under the Ministry of Education with a special mandate to promote early childhood education. We will launch a Furniture for All initiative to address the acute deficit at the basic level in partnership with local carpentry and furniture industry partners and players. We will also significantly improve the people-to-textbook ratio through the provision of curriculum-based texts. And if I may add, today as we speak, we still do not have the full complement of textbooks in our schools. According to parliamentary records, only 65% of the required textbooks have been distributed so far. We also intend to embark on an aggressive infrastructural drive to address the increasing phenomena of schools under trees and rehabilitate dilapidated school buildings. Again, according to records available by education sector, civil society organizations like Africa Education Watch, we currently have in excess of 5,000 schools under trees. We also intend to initiate a Start Smart curriculum for greater integration of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, coding and digital literacy, and TVET into the basic school curriculum. Still in the basic sector, we plan to increase and ensure regular payments of capitation and feeding grants, and this is very significant. As we speak, government owes capitation grants in excess of 8 terms. This is the equivalent of almost 3 years, and it is the capitation grant that is used to run our public basic schools. This is why we say that public basic education in Ghana is free. So you can imagine how the head teachers have to struggle to mobilize resources, sometimes even take loans, and procure the services of carpenters, of masons, just to fix minor cracks in walls, fix broken down chairs, doors, and furniture. Because the capitation grant is not remitted tenuously, today you wouldn't hear public basic schools engage in cultural activities, neither will you hear them engage in sporting activities. This is a very, very important issue that ought to be addressed. And parents and Ghanaians alike should be glad and happy that the NDC has recognized this issue and is going to tackle it head on. We also intend to promote digital literacy at the basic level by providing computer facilities installed with digitized learning material and upgraded ICT laboratories. To enhance that this is able to function in the rural areas where the national grid is not yet present, we intend to promote solar energy as a primary energy source for school facilities. But of course, we cannot speak about education without speaking about the role of the teacher and the conditions of the teacher. In the area of teacher training and teacher welfare, the next NDC Mahama government will do the following. We will prioritize the timely promotion of teachers and ensure the availability of funds for their remuneration. We will institute the Teacher Dabre project to provide accommodation facilities for teachers within new school buildings. And this is very, very important. It's a game changer, particularly for those of us who come from rural areas. We know one of the reasons why it is very difficult to deploy and get teachers to stay and teach in the rural communities is because of the lack of accommodation. So this is a very, very important intervention. But the incoming John Mahama NDC government is even going to go a step further by introducing a special allowance of 20% of basic salary for teachers who accept postings to rural and underserved communities. We also intend to abolish the teacher licensure examination and integrate the licensure process into the final year examination of trainees whilst they are still in school. We will scrap the MPP's mandatory national service for teacher trainee graduates and restore the automatic employment of newly qualified teachers. We will partner with the teacher unions to initiate the government-assisted mortgage scheme to support teachers to own their own homes. We intend to initiate a scheme to assist teachers own vehicles of their own and of their choice by offering flexible duty payments and arrangements and government guarantees in partnership with teacher unions and the banking sector. We intend to establish a college of education in the Afram Plains because we all know that in that enclave there is a challenge of acute professional teacher shortage. And to address this issue, it is the promise by the incoming John Dramani Mahama NDC government to establish a college of education in the Afram Plains. To conclude, the John Dramani Mahama that we know has a proven track record in the area of education and can be trusted to deliver on these and many other promises. He is a visionary and sincere leader that we know we can trust any day, anywhere, and anytime. I call on all of you at home, wherever you are watching us from, as long as you are a Ghanaian and you have a vote, the options and the choices are clear, like night and day. Vote for John Dramani Mahama to ensure that every Ghanaian child gets quality education. Help us to rescue and reset our education for our collective good. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was 15 minutes presentation on the summary of the highlights on education in the 2024 manifesto of the NDC. It's all about resetting education to improve outcomes. We want to improve the quality of education from the early childhood level through to the basic level, to the secondary level, all the way to the tertiary level. And you just heard Dr. Park summarize these far-reaching, well thought through policies of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC for you. Because we prioritize education. We know that education is the bedrock of the development of every country. And that is why we have, put before you these proposals. And it is our hope that through your esteemed platforms, the people of Ghana will get to know for us to engage on these policies in this campaign. Now, another equally important matter is the issue of health. Because without health, we can't even enjoy education. So quality healthcare delivery is very important. Now, for the account stations here, I know you've started thinking about how will you get them to give you summaries in the account language. Don't worry. Dr. Park may be MP for Bilsa Saba, he speaks fluent Twi. Honorable Peter Tobu also speaks Gucci. I don't know about Professor Bayo. He also speaks Tree. So when they are done and we wrap it up, they will still be here to engage you so that you can get your sound bites. But at this stage, welcome to the microphone. A man who served as secretary to the Ghana Medical Association some time ago. Currently, he is the PC and inshallah the incoming Member of Parliament for the good people of Lambusie, the Honorable Professor Titus Bayo, who addressed us on health.
Our communication officer, other comrades present, permit me to stand on the established protocols. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it is my delight to present to you the health sector policies of the next NDC administration, led by the visionary leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, which is aimed at assuring that we have quality healthcare delivery to the people of Ghana. Currently, our health sector is bedeviled with serious human resource challenges, such as the mass exodus of our experienced human resources, due mainly to poor economic mismanagement and the lack of hope in the future of this country. These highly experienced staff are leaving. Another issue is unemployed graduates from our various health training institutions and a quota system in the admission into these training institutions. Compounding the human resource challenges are sick hospitals with dilapidated buildings, obsolete equipment, and the entire hospital environment is demoralizing to very dedicated and highly skilled staff who are unable to deliver according to their expertise because of these challenges. The NDC and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama believe that the health of the nation is the wealth of the nation. The visionary and empathetic leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the nation builder, recognizes that Ghana needs a healthy workforce to support his game changer, the 24-hour economy, to reset this country on the path of prosperity and shared growth. Mindful that a well-trained and highly motivated health staff is a prerequisite for the delivery of quality healthcare, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC propose the following policies in our manifesto. In the sector of healthcare financing, the NDC proposes that we will uncap the National Health Insurance Scheme. The National Health Insurance Levy is uncapped. And for those who don't understand it, an act was passed in 2017, first to reduce how much government can disburse under the levies we all contribute to 25%. As if that was not enough, it was further reduced to 17.5%. And so not all our levies go to the NHIA fund for them to have access to it. And we believe that uncapping will make a lot of difference. His Excellency and the NDC also propose to establish the Ghana Medical Care Trust Fund, which we call Mahama Cares, to support the cost of healthcare for persons with chronic conditions like hypertension, sickle cell, diabetes, heart diseases. Many of these fall into the category of conditions we call non-communicable diseases, and they are the leading burden of disease mortality in this country and the leading cause of morbidity and mortality. We don't understand morbidity. So, leading cause of sickness and leading cause of death in the country. To put it in lay terms for everybody to get it. We also propose a free primary care health care concept starting from the CHIPS compound all the way to the polyclinic level in the medium to long term, in the short to long medium term. One will ask, what is in the manifesto for the healthcare infrastructure? The next administration intends to expand the healthcare infrastructure to restore prompt employment and timely deployment of healthcare workers. if you don't understand that, I think a lot of us know that when people go to nursing school, employment was almost automatic. But let me inform you that graduates from the year 2020, 2021, 2022 are still at home of nurses, and 2023 has just joined, unemployed. And because we have about 100 and few days to election, they've opened the portal for only 2020 nursing graduates. All other cadre of healthcare workers, no information yet. Maybe in November, they'll open another portal just to get votes for it. We intend to construct a 500-bed specialist hospital, children's hospital, and a fertility center in Accra. The next administration intends to refurbish the Kolebu Teaching Hospital as an additional ultra-modern quaternary specialist hospital. Currently, the only quaternary hospital we have is the UGMC, University of Ghana Medical Center. And the administration that initiated and built it is making this pledge that will elevate Kolebu to that level. The next administration intends to refurbish the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital to meet the standards of an ultra-modern teaching hospital. The NDC administration will also expand the whole teaching hospital to provide comprehensive specialist services and establish a quaternary hospital in the Volta region to attract medical tourism from that enclave. His Excellency envisions that a specialist and trauma hospital will be built in the OT region to respond to emergencies along the Eastern Corridor. You know we have one at Winneba covering that part. And the Eastern Corridor roads are being worked on. To upgrade the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, that's Rich Hospital, to a full teaching hospital and link it to the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons for specialist training. And then we intend to upgrade the Navrongo War Memorial Hospital to facilitate the training of doctors, nurses, and other health workers in that area. The next NDC government would establish a modern dialysis center in the Upper East region to serve that catchment area. There is something of a dialysis happening there, but very minimal. We intend to build an ultramodern hospital in Boku, Yendi, and other towns based on needs assessment. What is in our 2024 manifesto for health workers, the human resource? The next administration is planning to establish a college of allied health sciences for postgraduate medical training, especially training for these cadre of health workers. We plan catchment area. There is something of a dialysis happening there, but very minimal. We intend to build an ultramodern hospital in Boku, Yendi, and other towns based on needs assessment. What is in our 2024 manifesto for health workers, the human resource? The next administration is planning to establish a College of Allied Health Sciences for postgraduate medical training, especially training for these cadre of health workers. We plan to introduce a degree and specialist training program for colleges of nursing to improve the skill of our nursing care to that level. In furtherance of that, we are providing scholarships, opportunities for nursing tutors, so that when we convert their schools to degree awarding institutions, they will have the caliber of teachers to offer that tutor services there. So they'll be giving scholarships to study PhD programs in preparation for that transformation. The next NDC administration plans to complete the establishment of additional campuses for the University of Health and Allied Sciences at Keta and Bato. His Excellency's government from January 2025 plans to establish a medical school in the Brong Ahafo region, the former Brong Ahafo region, currently the Bunu East and Ahafo regions, and operationalize the Tsunami Teaching Hospital as a site for medical training. And for those who know how doctors are distributed in this country, when a medical school or a site of a medical school is open in any region, automatically you have a lot of specialist consultants gravitating there to improve service delivery, research, and teaching. This will help address the maldistribution of professionals in this country. We intend to introduce one of my favorite policies, the risk exposure insurance for healthcare workers to provide financial protection and support in the event of injuries, illness that we encounter in the line of duty. And I can tell you, and colleagues, doctors who are here will tell you, that when doctors, nurses, other healthcare workers fall ill in the line of their duty, sometimes we have to write to the presidency, they have to go on social media to raise funding just to manage conditions that they themselves have been taking care of other people and they cannot afford it. So this insurance, and it's none like what we saw during the COVID. We intend to provide affordable accommodation within the premises of health facilities and offer home ownership schemes. And this one, I know all the unions are excited about this because they are putting effort to acquire parcels of land in the various regions. I'm former General Secretary of the Medical Association. I know that we have done that, acquiring parcels of land for doctors in Ho, in Y, in other regions. How will they build? And the home financing scheme will come in handy there. And we intend to reward healthcare workers who accept postings to rural communities and underserved areas with decent 20% of their basic salary as an allowance, but in addition to that, a shorter service period for promotions and study leave if you accept to serve Ghanaians in those areas. So what is in our manifesto for herbal, traditional, and alternative medicine? The next administration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama intend to mainstream research-backed herbal, traditional, and alternative medical practice in patient management at all levels in the country, so that we don't get one herbal drug that is managing every condition, and the doctors are scared to prescribe and patients are scared to take. We will have evidence-based practice in this area. For the pharmaceutical sector, we intend to support the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana with incentives to make Ghana a pharma hub. Also, for the human resource bit, we intend to reintroduce the vehicle tax waiver for healthcare professionals that is well regulated, because this was a very useful thing that was available for doctors and other healthcare workers. It was abused. The government changed it into a revolving fund. It was not sustained, and now the plan is to reintroduce it and regulate it very, very well. So, being that these are highlights of the manifesto, I'll proceed to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, and I will ask in conclusion, that can we trust that these policies will be implemented to promote quality healthcare delivery? Yes. Yes. And I say a confident yes. Why is it yes? The messenger is credible and trustworthy. Yeah. The NDC and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama have the track record in the health sector. To us, the doctors and nurses, our first ever codified conditions of service document was delivered in 2015 and 2016 respectively by the government of the NDC. And we are forever grateful. To the patients and the healthcare seeking public, the record is there. The University of Ghana Medical Center, the Dodoa Ultramodern Hospital, the Bank Hospital, the International Maritime Hospital, and the thousands of CHIPS compounds dotted across the countries, built by slashed salaries of appointees of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, are testimonies to us that we can trust that this man can do what he is saying. I therefore invite you, citizens of Ghana, to opt for the NDC's superior policy proposal and signed the social contract with us on the 7th of this January 2025. The credible and incorruptible pair of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyemang present the safest pair of hands to entrust the future of our healthcare to. Ladies and gentlemen, Mahama cares, and he will reset Ghana into a healthy country and put us on the path to shared prosperity and growth. Thank you.
Health policies and programs contained in our 2024 manifesto. He started with what we will do about health financing, what we'll do with the NHIL, free primary health care, and from there he came down to what we will do about health infrastructure. From there he spoke about what we will do for health professionals to boost morale and to have a health sector that works and that delivers quality outcomes. So another round of applause for Professor Titus Bayo, NDC parliamentary candidate for the Lambusie constituency. Now, ladies and gentlemen, education is important, and we've spoken about our policies on education. Health is very important, and we've spoken about health. But without security, you can't enjoy the health facilities, infrastructure, policies and programs we have just discussed. Without security, education would be meaningless. And so at this stage, we want to talk to you about the policies and programs we have in our manifesto in the area of security. This is important because at the manifesto launch, time did not allow His Excellency to be doing 15 minutes, but because this man is a so but before he comes a round of applause for Mr. Kwame Alumni. So Tubu is a member of Parliament. A round of applause for Mr. Kwame Alumni. So Tubu is a member of Parliament. A round of applause for Mr. Kwame Alumni. So
thank you very much, the National Communication Officer of the Great National Democratic Congress. I'm going to surprise you a little. Sitting behind me, where he just stepped out, is my primary school teacher, Honorable Emmanuel Zimakwe. Yes. I want to also welcome all my other colleagues, spokespersons, and everybody who is in this room, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am sure as you sit, you feel very comfortable because you are the National Democratic Congress headquarters, where security is tight. Just look to your left or to your right, and you realize that probably the person sitting close to you, you don't even know the person. But you are very comfortable in the room because the party that is coming to power has arranged this presence for you, and you are here very comfortable. We cannot have development without security. Extremely fragile security threats to earn the respect of the civilian. My journey with the taxi driver, a very short story. Last Sunday, most of the times, I pick a taxi cab for 25 minutes. Just look at what is happening in town. A conversation. 10:30 p.m. How do you feel related to the security situation in the country? I had a 25-minute lecture from the taxi driver on the security situation in Ghana, the layman's perspective. And all he said was, my brother, if somebody threatens to kill you in Ghana now, If you know of any pastor, any elder, any influential person who will go and beg for the person to forgive you, go get them to go and beg for you. And I said, why? And he's continued. There are a lot of examples that I can give to justify this statement. Soldiers are killed. Some are injured by civilians. Police officers are attacked, beaten, and killed. MPs are not safe. Journalists are not spared. Bankers are killed. Watchmen are killed serially. And he was referring to what is happening in Wa and recently in the Savannah region. Above all, voters are killed during democratic elections. And what is more hurting is the fact that after all this, nobody is arrested, the crime is not detected, and all of us continue to live in fear. He continued, do you know that youth unemployment is the greatest security threat to our nation? Do you also know that the rising cost of living is actually pushing this country to the edge of the cliff? I got to my destination, ladies and gentlemen, and I assured him, your frustrations are dealt with completely by the next NDC administration that is coming, effective 7th of January 2025. After paying an amount of 70 Ghana cedis, and making him to know that President John Dramani Mahama is coming back, he held the money in his hands, and I could see from his eyes, he wished he could give that money back to me because he can see hope, and he actually saw hope through me. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers from the media, the only real security that a person will have in this world is a result of knowledge, experience, and ability. It is thus a truism that the only real security that a nation can have is a result of knowledge, experience, and ability of the man who is in charge, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, the chairman of the National Security Council, and for that matter, His Excellency, the President of the Republic. Comparing the two leading candidates in these 2024 elections, President John Dramani Mahama and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, both of them happen to be my elder brothers. And I can tell you, I know them well. And I won't mince words. President John Dramani Mahama is miles ahead of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the area of integrity, in the area of knowledge, in the area of experience. What is the next NDC government coming to do? Effective 7th January 2025. And I think the President made it very clear that within 14 days, his cabinet will be in place. That is a very serious-minded person. One, with the military, and I know they are watching me, and they are excited that I'm speaking, because you know what I know, and you know what we can do. Anytime the NDC is in power, men and women in uniform, I can tell you, are always excited, because morale is always very high. We are going to construct housing units and refurbish dilapidated and abandoned housing units across the country. We are going to establish the Armed Forces Home Ownership Scheme for all personnel and officers. We are going to review and adjust salaries and allowances of troops and defense civilian staff to align with changing realities. We will complete and equip the Kumasi Military Hospital at Afari in the Central Command. We will initiate the construction of military hospitals in Ho, Bolgatanga, and Sepirioso. We will establish the Veterans Referral Department in the military hospital across the country. This excites me. Our men and women in uniform, when they retire, we should continue to revere them. Why will a retired officer go to a hospital and go and join a queue? We should have a specialized department to give them that special attention that they desire. Having served the nation sometimes 20 years, some of them 30 years, and some of them even more. We will ensure transparency in the selection process for peace support operations. We will expand and equip the Field Engineers Corps to undertake national emergency projects, road construction, and be licensed to undertake commercial ventures of the government. For the other security agencies, in no particular order, I just pick some of the policies that I want to highlight for them to understand that the NDC is so comprehensive, thinking about what we can do to reset the security sector. We will develop a comprehensive security and safety program to support the implementation of one of the most famous, if not the famous, or the star program or policy of the NDC government come 1st January 2025, the 24-hour economy policy. We are going to recruit 25,000 officers, 25,000 men to add to the existing strength so that we have the capacity to police the policy of the 24-hour economy. We will ensure merit-based, transparent, and decentralized recruitment and promotions in all security agencies in line with the HR gap analysis. I'm sure you heard recently that they wanted to do a recruitment for 11,000 people, and the story cannot be told in this room. But when we come, we are going to decentralize the process and make sure that it is transparent, equal access to equal opportunities. Expand the implementation of community-based crime prevention programs focusing on high crime areas by enhancing police presence and patrols in neighborhoods and public spaces. I'm sure in 2014, 2015, under the regime of one Inspector General of Police that was called Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, that was the first time Ghanaians heard of police visibility, and people were excited. You close from work and you are going home in the night, get to your junction and you find a police officer standing there. What is the problem? I'm just here to ensure that you are safe. And people were excited. We are going to make that program better. Enhance border security and cooperation with international partners to combat terrorism, terror financing, and fight against foreign terrorists. Ladies and gentlemen, we will introduce a nationwide community policing program that is instructive, and I can tell you it's a game changer, very particularly for internal security. We will invest in ICT infrastructure, training, modern equipment, mobility, and other logistics to support intelligence gathering and enhance national safety. Recently, we could hear of the Alpha project that there were cameras all around, and even there was a promise that every police station was going to have a camera installed. That is just a promise. Many of the promises, including even within the security, are never fulfilled. If you don't take security serious, I don't see why we should take it serious and allow you to lead the country. We will control the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. We will clear the backlog of promotions and ensure timely promotions based on meritocracy and transparency. For the men and women in uniform, if you do anything and it is all about their promotions, take it serious. They don't care what you do for them. It doesn't matter what you do for them. If it affects their promotion negatively, you will never be forgiven. But we are going to do that respecting meritocracy and competence. We will prioritize the welfare of serving and retired personnel of our security agencies. We will harmonize and address disparities in salaries, remuneration, and other conditions of service across the security agencies. We will review and enforce the medical package for serving and retired personnel and their families. We will review compensation packages for personnel who lose their lives or get injured in the line of duty. We will revamp the police public order management training school in Palawu, roll out a transparent police education and scholarship scheme, and introduce state-of-the-art technology for police operations. Policing is a science, and we need to understand that security itself is becoming more complicated than we understand, and we need to study it seriously as a country. Change the name of the Ghana Prison Service to the Ghana Correctional Service, and modernize prison service to make it humane. Changing the name is not mere changing nomenclature. We are changing the philosophy of the prison service. That from 2025, when we convict people, we are going to send them to correctional centers and not prisons. I don't want anybody in Ghana to go to a prison again. I want everybody to go to a correctional center. That when we implement Operation Recover All Loot, and you are even jailed, we will send you to go and be corrected, to go and be reformed, so that you will be useful to society. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to create well-equipped technical and vocational departments in all major prisons, and that is the purpose. It's a reform center. It's not a punishment center. At least deterrence is enough if you don't even see your family. But you don't go there and come back and become worse off. You go and steal a cow or a goat, and you go back and come back and you graduate into an armed robber. That is not the way to go. We need to let that place be a correctional center. So the change of name is the change of philosophy. We will establish the NACMO Fund as enshrined in the NACMO Act of 2016. Fully implement the 2015 Supreme Court ruling and the recommendation of the Constitutional Review Commission. We will facilitate the construction of a customs hospital for serving and retired officers of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, as the National Communication Officer said, security people, we don't speak much. In conclusion, the security of our nation, listen to this, the security of our nation cannot be entrusted into the hands of a person who cannot be trusted. Warren Buffett, an American philosopher, philanthropist, and businessman, once said, in looking for people to hire, please be guided by 3 qualities. 1, integrity. 2, intelligence, and 3, energy. He said, without integrity, the other 2 will kill you. For the past almost 8 years, we have our nation in the hands of leaders without integrity. And the consequences are the mess we are witnessing across the sectors, the security sector, not an exception. If President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia were men in uniform, ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you, at least by now, they would have been interdicted for bringing the name of Ghana into disrepute. Our proud men and women in uniform know the difference between the NDC and the MPP. The difference between the presidential candidates of the great NDC and the MPP is clearer now than before. It is not news that morale amongst our men and women in uniform is always high anytime the NDC is in power. Thank you all, and may God bless our homeland Ghana and make it great and strong. Change is inevitable, and change is coming. The NDC, under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, is coming back effective the 7th of January, 2025, inshallah. And all I want to tell you is that God bless all of you.
The Election Eye.
Presentations on education, health, and security. And their presentations summarize the key highlights of our policies as captured in the manifesto we launched last Saturday on these various sectors. And ladies and gentlemen, at this stage, I would want to open the floor. I know most of the media people are seated at the back. Please wave at me if you have a question for any of the speakers. If you don't have a question we can call it a day. Because I can see from the way you're all smiling that you don't have questions. Do we have any questions? Good. It means that our speakers have done a good job. So what we're going to do now, we just had 50 minutes, so what we're going to do now is that I would want to plead with the English stations here to bear with us. Just keep your cameras where they are and your microphones where they are. Honorable Apak will come and do a quick summary of the policies, just the policies on education in the Akan language. And please, for those who say, why don't you do Eve or Dagbani and all that, for those watching, the stations here are all either English or Akan. And the other challenge is that I don't speak Dagbani, I don't speak Eve. And the people here don't, so don't worry. Honorable Ukujoto Ablakwa will come and he will speak Eve. And we'll have other spokespersons speaking other local languages. But for today, they are here to do quick summaries in the Twi language for the purpose of the Akan stations here. So, Dr. Park, the floor is yours.